her brilliance. She's so smart. Are all things I think that just add to her.
As she develops her playmaking ability and her ball handling, she's going to be even better.
Yeah, one of the best athletes in the draft. She's got
Onyenwere from UCLA. She is a 6-foot player. Some people are calling her a tweener, but I think she has a pro-ready body and a lot.
What happens when a rookie outplays a veteran for a roster spot? The Indiana Fever just showed us exactly what that looks like by waiving Jaelyn Brown. This wasn't a random decision, it was calculated. Rookie Onyenwere has been lighting it up in the preseason, creating an undeniable case for herself. Brown became the odd player out in a numbers game that happens every season in the WNBA, where roster spots are incredibly limited. But there's more to this story than just performance.
You have got to move to that 3 position. She did play the 4 at UCLA out of necessity this year.
Onyenwere might be the most powerful, explosive wing in the WNBA draft. I just love.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
Get to the rim, create contact, can also handle in the open floor. She's developed a 3-point shot, which is going to be very important.
Very close, just didn't have enough pieces, but she took it on herself to work on that 3-point shot. I've heard the comparisons to...
You know how they say one player can completely change a team's direction? That's exactly what happened with Onyenwere in the Fever. She walked into training camp like any other rookie fighting for a spot. Nothing special, right? Just another name on the roster. But then something crazy happened when she stepped on the court. The first few practices, coaches didn't think much. But then they started doing drills, running plays, and suddenly the coaching staff kept looking at each other. Onyenwere was doing things nobody expected. She was grabbing rebounds over taller players. She was hitting shots with defenders in her face. She was running the floor like she'd been in the league for years.
Alicia Clark, she's just someone who I think that frame and that body lends itself to success in the WNBA.
She will not be able to play the 4, I don't think, in the WNBA, though in Walt Hopkins' system she possibly could, but she's actually a 3.
And here's where it gets interesting. The Fever coaching staff started taking notes. Every practice, Onyenwere was outplaying expectations, not just a little bit. We're talking consistently making plays that made everyone stop and watch. Meanwhile, Jaelyn Brown was working hard, but she wasn't showing that same spark. That gap between them kept growing with every scrimmage. But you know what really sealed the deal? The chemistry between Onyenwere and Caitlin Clark. Imagine this. First time they ran a pick and roll together, it looked like they'd been teammates for years. Clark would come off the screen and Onyenwere would roll to the perfect spot. Or Clark would fake the pass and Onyenwere would read it perfectly and slide to the corner. Their pick and roll looked really good, according to insiders. That kind of natural connection is exactly what the Fever need to make Clark shine. Coach Stephanie White made it super clear what she wanted in players. She specifically said, "I think we're looking for number 1, someone who is going to stay ready so they don't have to get ready." That's Onyenwere to a T. She doesn't need 3 quarters to warm up. She doesn't need a week of practices to get in rhythm. She steps on the court ready to contribute immediately.
got a nice turnaround jumper. She can guard multiple positions, and that's what Walt Hopkins likes. He wants to be able to switch to NBA.
And that's the nice thing about the draft this year, and really any year, is that these rookies don't have to come in and perform right away. They can come in and have room to grow.
The preseason numbers tell the whole story. Onyenwere wasn't just good. She was effective in limited minutes. She made smart decisions with the ball. Her shooting percentages were solid. She grabbed rebounds you wouldn't expect someone her size to get. Brown had moments too, but they were just that, moments. Onyenwere was stringing together complete performances that the coaches couldn't ignore. Let's talk about the Fever's biggest problem last season. Their front court was basically non-existent. They got destroyed in the paint night after night. Players were walking into the lane against them like there wasn't even a defense there.
You know, many of them won't start. They'll be able to come in and play minutes with starters, but this is a draft.
She's got a good-looking shot. She could be a solid 3-point shooter in time. New York wanted depth in the...
Onyenwere changes that equation. She's not the tallest player, but she's physical, she's tough, and she fights for position. The Fever desperately needed someone who could help fix their front court issues, and Onyenwere showed she could do exactly that. There's also the money side. Onyenwere's rookie scale contract is a steal. $69,000 in 2025, climbing to $88,000 by her fourth year. That's pocket change in pro sports. With the CBA negotiations coming in 2026, teams are scrambling to lock down value contracts. The Fever can get Onyenwere for cheap for the next 4 years if things work out. That financial flexibility is huge for a team trying to build around Clark. When you put it all together, Onyenwere's preseason performance and perfect fit with Clark made her impossible to cut. The Fever had seen enough to know she could contribute right away. Brown became the casualty of Onyenwere's rise. It wasn't that Brown was bad, she just wasn't solving the problems the Fever needed to fix. That's the brutal reality of the WNBA. Teams only have 12 roster spots. When a player checks every box, performance, chemistry with your star, position need, and contract value, teams will do whatever it takes to keep them. Brown has potential, but Onyenwere has production right now.
On UCLA's all-time scoring list and was a total stud in high school in Colorado.
As it has been the last couple of years, where players can come in, learn, grow. Onyenwere is a player who you project.
Think about it from the Fever's perspective. They're building around Clark. They need players who make her better today, not just someday. Onyenwere and Clark already look like they've been playing together for years. That kind of instant chemistry is rare. When coaches see it, they don't let it go. So while fans might be surprised by the Fever waiving Brown, the people inside the gym watching practices every day saw this coming. Onyenwere forced their hand by being too good to cut. She walked into camp as just another rookie fighting for a spot. She walked out with not just a roster spot, but possibly a key role in the Fever's future. That's how quickly things can change in professional basketball. One player, the right opportunity, and suddenly the whole picture shifts.
You know, what is she going to look like 4 years down the road? She's going to look pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you know, her physical dimensions.
Times on the all Pac-12 first team, second this past season in the Pac-12 in scoring. She is fourth.
This is why the WNBA is so intense. Only 12 spots on each team means every practice matters. One great performance can change everything. Jaelyn Brown found that out the hard way, while Onyenwere grabbed her opportunity with both hands. You know what's going to be fun to watch? How Onyenwere and Clark grow together. That pick and roll chemistry we've already seen could take the Fever to a whole new level. Imagine if they keep building on that connection. A team that couldn't make the playoffs suddenly becomes a contender. That's the beauty of basketball. Sometimes the smallest roster move changes everything.